So I have a story for you, which I think is appropriate around this time of year. It is a story of a shoemaker from Constantinople. Now, he was the most skilled shoemaker who anyone had ever seen, for he could accomplish in one day what it would take most shoemakers 2 days to do. And yet, the fruits of his labor were better than any. And his skill at shoemaking became so renowned that one day a lovely and noble maiden with a very large retinue came into his shop and said, "I have heard that your shoes are of the finest." And so she removed her shoes so she could be measured. And as he gazed upon her, he fell in love, even though he knew this noble lady was so far above him in station. And so he made her the finest pair of shoes she had ever seen. And then he decided to sell everything he owned and to buy a suit of armor and a sword and join the ranks of the soldiers, hoping to earn enough glory that one day he might be able to ask for her hand in marriage. And indeed, he excelled at the arts of war, and soon he rose to a rank that he felt was suitable to ask the lady's father for her hand in marriage. Well, her father did not agree. He did not think this man was suitable at all. And so he politely refused him, and the shoemaker flew into a rage. And he determined that if he could not have the lady in marriage, he would take her by force. And so he went out and he joined a pirate band. And soon, because of his cunning and his cruelty, he became their leader. And he terrorized everyone and soon had an army large enough that he felt he could attack the city and go and take the lady himself. But when they arrived at the city and they sent out scouts, he learned something terrible, that the lady had died of a fever. And so he would never have her now. So disguising himself, he went to attend her funeral to pay his last respects. And he paid close attention to where they buried her. And that night, he went back to her gravesite and dug her up and lay with her. As the dawn broke, the corpse spoke and said, "Come back in 9 months' time, husband, and take what you have begotten." And so he closed the coffin lid, reburied her, and went away. And in 9 months' time, he came back, dug up the grave, opened it up, and there was the skeleton of the lady. And there was also with the lady a hideous human head, more terrible than anything ever seen on earth. And the corpse of the lady spoke and said, "Have a care that you only show this to your enemies, for whoever sees this head will fall down dead instantly at your feet." And so the young man took up the head, wrapped it in his cloak, and he had a special box made for it. And he decided to leave piracy behind, for there was so much more profit to be made on land. And gathering more forces to him, he started to conquer all of Europe. And whenever he would face an army, he would simply reach into the box and hold up the head, and any who saw it would fall down dead. And soon, he was the ruler of a great many lands, for no one dared stand up to him. And when the emperor of Constantinople died. His daughter was offered to this man in marriage, for the citizens of Constantinople hoped to be spared his wrath. Well, he accepted, because why wouldn't you? And the lady was sweet and charming, but in her heart, she had vowed to find a way to defeat him. And so she asked, "Tell me, my husband, how is it that you can defeat any army?" And at first he put her off, but she cajoled and she flattered so much that at last he said, "All right, I'll share my secret with you, but don't tell anyone. For you see, in this box, do not open it. For any who look on the head that is within that box will fall down dead instantly." "Oh," said the lady, "I promise I won't open it." So later that night, they went to bed, and in the middle of the night, later than the middle of the night, closer to dawn, she crept over to that box and reached in and very carefully picked up the head without looking at it and walked over to her husband. She opened the curtains so that the dawn light would come in, and she said, "My love, I have a surprise for you." He opened his eyes and turned and stared straight at the head and died instantly. Well, the lady who was now ruler of Constantinople called forth the guards and, after wrapping up the head very carefully, said, "I want you to throw both this head and its wretched father into the center of the sea." And so it was done. The guards took the corpse and that evil head out into the middle of the ocean and threw it in. But the ocean, so appalled by the evilness that had just been thrown into it, threw it back up. And then threw it in again, and the ocean threw it back out. For 3 times it did this until the ocean just kept spinning round and round. And at last, it no longer threw them out. But now, and if you go there to this day, you'll find a maelstrom, a whirlpool in the center of the ocean. And that is where the head of the shoemaker of Constantinople was thrown.